Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Clo Podcast. Welcome to Clo Podcast. Welcome to Clo Podcast. It's the podcast. Yeah, we here every week. I love to hear y'all's feedback and hear what you think. I love that you're here. I hope that you'll stay. So enjoy the podcast and have a fantastic day. Welcome back. Welcome back. You guys made it to episode 2 of the podcast. Thank y'all so much for you guys' support on the first episode, all of the comments, all of the feedback. Thank y'all so much again and again and again. I really appreciate it. You guys are really supporting just a little hobby I took up, and it means a lot to me. It really does. So it doesn't go unnoticed, and it is much appreciated. I'm not going to do too long of an intro. Just wanted to thank y'all. But to grab a snack, grab a weighted blanket since it's getting a little chilly outside, grab a cup of hot tea, because without further ado, we're going to get right into it. So just to give y'all a bit of a background, my background as an athlete, I played sports my whole entire life, starting from the age of 5 or 6. I did Taekwondo, which is a subset of karate, for 4 years, earned my black belt, shout out instructor Troy. I played basketball starting in 6th grade, from 6th grade to about 10th grade. Shout out to the ELMS girls basketball team. We went back to back, 7th and 8th grade. 8th grade we went undefeated. Love y'all. Shout out to all of my softball teams. I played softball starting from 11 to when I was 21. So 11 years of softball. The Baden, shout out to the Trouble, shout out to the illustrious Lady Jackets, love y'all my peoples for life, shout out to the Vipers, shout out to my college teams, Martin Methodist and UTS. I also played soccer in high school. I was the goalie my junior and senior year, shout out Coach Mont. So that's just a little bit of my background as an athlete, but just to give y'all kind of an example of the kind of player I was. When I played softball in 7th grade, I was on the Lady Jackets. I broke my thumb during a game, and I played through it. Should I have played through it? No. But that is why we're talking about today's topic, so more people won't make the same mistakes that I did. I had a stress fracture when I was playing softball and soccer at the same time, so I had to be in a boot for a little while. And I also had a concussion in college. And so that was an experience as well. So that's about the extent of my injuries. Thank God I've been healthy for all of my career besides those couple of hiccups. But today's topic is, we're just going to be talking about why athletes shouldn't sacrifice their body. And just like I said, I was the player that I wanted to play through the pain. I wanted to push for my team, push through any pain. Anything that was bothering me, I just pushed through it, took some painkillers or whatever it was, so I could keep pushing for my team and keep playing. And I feel like as the older generation of athletes, we really need to start mentoring these younger athletes so we don't make the same mistakes that they don't make the same mistakes that we did. I have 2 younger brothers that are about to be 18. Good God Almighty. I feel like I'm getting old, but that's okay. And I really need them to understand that, the life of an athlete, it's a hard one, but it's one that it can be a blessing when you apply the right procedures and the right practices to yourself, keep yourself on the straight and narrow, and do what you need to do. So I personally was that kind of player, like I said, to push through all of the pain and injuries. I was always the dirtiest on the field. Shout out to my mom for cleaning all of my jerseys because they were drenched in dirt, completely covered. But I was that kind of player. I was that hard-nosed player that wanted to get every ball, make every play, because I hate to lose. I hate to lose so much, like you don't even, I still hate to lose. Y'all don't even understand. I'm a sore loser. I am a sore loser. Not to the point of where it was as bad as it was, but I just don't like to lose. Anyways, when we go into the narrative of where we as athletes push through pain, because it's very common, more common than you might think. A lot of people that I know played with injuries, played when something was nagging them, And when you think about it, the risk was never worth the reward, because a little over 7% of high school athletes go to the next level to play college. And only about 2% of athletes, and NCAA athletes to be specific, go on to go pro. So if you think about all of those kids that have this mindset of pushing through the pain and through those injuries, and they could have long-term effects on their life and their body and their health, and they're sacrificing it for a sport that they won't even continue to play because they feel like that's the admirable thing to do. And don't get me wrong, it is an admirable thing to want to be selfless and push forward for your team, but at the same time, you have to be very selfish as an athlete when it comes to your body. Shout out to Coach Jimmy from my high school days. When I was a freshman in high school, he stressed it to take care of your body. He made sure I iced my arm after every game, would always ask me how my arm was feeling, and if it was feeling not too good. He was always on top of me for my recovery. And that's what we need to stress very, very importantly. Like in the beginning, like we shouldn't wait till college for it to be now I'm taking care of myself. No, as soon as you start to play sports, you should be taking care of your body. And I think that we as a whole sports culture, I don't think we stress that enough. You have guys like LeBron James and Tom Brady who was able to play well into their 40s well into their 30s, almost their 40s, because they spend millions upon millions of dollars each year taking care of their bodies. And we as athletes need to understand that your body will only produce as much as you put into it. If you are resting properly, if you're stretching properly, if you're utilizing the training staff at whatever school you're going to properly, please understand that your body will be able to push further than someone who doesn't do those things. And it will show on the field, on the court, or wherever you play. It will show. And so we should not get complacent in the thinking of, oh, my shoulder hurts, I want to play, I want to push through for my team. No, because in a couple of years, if you continue to irritate that shoulder injury, you could be in a position where you can't lift your arm up above your head. And now you're trying to lift your kids up and you can't because a couple of years of ball that you chose to ride it through. And for what? You know what I'm saying? So it's something that we really need to take a look at. And also, I feel like it discourages the idea of body autonomy, because you're basically saying that your body doesn't belong to you. It belongs to an organization or a team. No, your body is your own. And we need to start teaching that to kids as well. Like, if we're teaching them that it's okay to be uncomfortable right now or push through the pain right now because of the greater good, then what's to say they won't think in their mind? Because, kids can interpret things their own way. They're kids. If they're uncomfortable around someone, they don't want to make a big bother for the greater good. I'm just saying, it could be a slippery slope of what we're encouraging for kids. So we need to start emphasizing the importance of sitting out when you're injured, not practicing when you're injured, not playing and resting. Because I feel like nowadays it's such like, you got to be on the grind, you got to be on the grind, you got to be on the grind, it's such a hustle culture that's been developed. And it's fine to want to work hard, and that's great to want to work hard, but your body can't function properly without rest. It simply cannot. This is coming from a bio major, so I'm valid. You cannot function without rest. Your body needs to rest. It needs to rest, and that needs your mind too. Another thing that I think we're ignoring is the importance of mental health in athletes. When I was in college, my sophomore year, it wasn't the best year for me. I struggled a lot with my mental health. My grades were slipping. My performance in class was slipping. I didn't want to get out of bed a lot of times. But I still pushed on the field, and I pushed every day. But my performance on the field was even slipping because my body was crying out for help, and I just kind of ignored it. And I remember seeing a story about a girl who was a student athlete. She just, was named of All-American, but she unfortunately took her life because she was suffering, I guess, in silence. And that's something that's so sad to me, because we as student athletes, especially when you get to college, your schedule is so hectic. Nothing can prepare you for a college schedule. You got 6 a.m. workouts, 8 a.m. class from 8 about 2, then practice from 2:30 to like 5:30, and sometimes we had workouts after practice. Then you have study hall, and then that gives you just enough time to eat, go to bed, and do it all over the next day. That's a lot to ask of your body and your mind, and if you're not properly taking care of that, then you're sacrificing your body and you're trying to push yourself, and it's just not going to end up well for you. So I think we really need to push that in athletes. And it also kind of gives them the idea that they're not really even humans. Like, they're just kind of objects in this machine. They're just little pawns in a chess game, and that them as individuals, they don't matter. And that's not a good thing to instill in young athletes, instill in anybody, because you have athletes like Andrew Luck. He was a quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, and he chose to walk away after a couple years because his offensive line was horrible, and he just kept taking hit after hit after hit after hit, and he was completely, they bashed him so bad when he chose to walk away from the sport and chose himself and chose his body and his well-being, and they ridiculed him for that. And it's quite admirable that he did that, because he chose himself and his body and his future and his family over millions and millions and millions of dollars. But it's very telling that athletes are starting to understand that it's not even worth it. You see all these guys, these older guys that played NFL back in the day, and they have all these severe cases of CTE, and they can't even study CTE, truly, guys, they can't study until after you're dead. They have to really take an in-depth look of your brain that they can't take a look at until you pass away. So my point is, we need to start instilling in these young athletes the importance of taking care of your body, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, before anything else or any team. So that's the podcast for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for listening again. We got a podcast mic. We official now. We valid. So I'll see y'all in the next episode. I hope y'all have a safe, healthy, great week and weekend. And y'all be safe. Peace out.